Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just giving you all a moment to connect your audio. And I'll turn off the waiting room. It's nice to see familiar faces. Welcome back. Okay. So good afternoon and welcome to the last week of our Civics and Citizenship Professional Development seminars for term 2. Hopefully you have enjoyed the series, and I'd like to say we're saving the best for last because we've got some really awesome information for you today. I am in Parliament House today, and Parliament House is on Kaurna land, and I acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional owners of the land that I'm on. And I hope you've been having wonderful conversations with your students for NAIDOC Week this week, and showcasing some of the amazing cultural pieces and artwork and stories within your classrooms. If you would like to share the country that you're on in the chat, or if you would like to share what your schools might have been doing for NAIDOC Week this week, that would be really lovely, so we can see what you've been up to and you can share that in the chat. As a bit of administration, your certificate should come through tomorrow, and if I've missed any for previous sessions, please keep in touch with me and I can produce them for you. And I think that's pretty much everything from me. Today, we've got Aaron Harrison and Tara Barron from the Department for Education, who will be talking about opportunities and resources and strategies that the department has to support you with HASS. So I might throw it over to Aaron first to get the session started for you today.
Lovely, thanks Natalie. Hi everyone, and nice to meet all new people and nice to see those who've been tuning in the last few weeks once again. So yeah, I've got an awesome job, and I know Tara has as well, working at the department and providing lots of opportunities and support resources for students across South Australia and across sectors as well. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity today to share a little bit about what we do and what opportunities there are for students from years 5 to SACE, and go through them in some detail today. So I'll introduce Tara a little bit later, but a little bit like I did for those who tuned in last week, I just want to know, I guess, from everybody out there, exactly what you've heard about before and what you or your school have participated in before. So I've got a poll that I'm going to share. If you just want to spend the next minute or so clicking some buttons, it's very, very easy to do. And the poll, there's two questions basically that I'll put up. The first one is, please select which of the following programs that you have heard of before 2023. So pretty well before this series of professional development workshops that we've been doing. And the second one is, have you or your school, or to your knowledge, because this may have happened before your time, entered any of the above awards that we mentioned? And if yes, which awards? So I will launch that now, and if you'd like to spend the next 2 minutes on that, that'd be terrific. Thank you. And this is purely anonymous. The statistics just come to me, so it's just a way for us to get to know who we're talking to and how many of our programs you've heard of before. And if there's not many, that's fantastic. You'll learn a lot today. Just another minute or so. Looks like 57% have voted. Well done. Almost everybody's voted. Okay, we might finish there. Really useful information. So the project that a majority of has, 37% have heard of the Premier's Anzac Spirit School Prize. 5% have heard about the Muriel Matters Awards. 16% have heard before about the SA Schools Constitutional Convention. And we've got one school that has been involved in the Governor's Civics Awards for schools, one school for the Premier's Anzac Spirit School Prize, and one school for the SA Constitutional Convention. So that is really very useful information. Thank you for filling that out. I'm just going to end the poll. And share my screen. I've got a bit of a presentation where we're going to go through a lot of those awards and opportunities. Okay, has that come up, the PowerPoint?
Sure has.
Excellent. And it started on slide 12 or something for some reason. All right, is that up on full screen? I can't quite see.
Yep, your view is good.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for that feedback, Natalie. Yes, so these opportunities, as I mentioned earlier, are available for South Australian schools. So we're looking at across sector. So SA government schools, we've got Catholic education and independent association schools, metropolitan, regional and rural schools as well. The programs that we manage range from years 5 to 12. Each are a little bit different in their own right as well. The exception to cross-sector is the Eden School Prize, which is for government schools only, which I'll talk about shortly. I run in collaboration with Project Australia, work with us very closely for the Anzac Spirit School Prize. We work with Government House for the Governor's Civics Awards for schools. Muriel Matters with Natalie knows that very, very well with SA Parliament. Obviously, these professional development workshops where we're working with SA Parliament and the Commission for Children and Young People as well. So lots of stakeholders involved. The first one I will speak about is the Premier's Anzac Spirit School Prize. So that's been going since 2007. So for a government project, that's a very, very long-term project. Obviously, the Premier, several Premiers have put their name to it and are very, very supportive of this project and continue to do so with our current Premier. For this is for Year 9 and 10 students, and this is mapped very, very closely with the Year 9 and 10 history curriculum. So we're looking at World War I in Year 9 and World War II in Year 10, and this is one of our across sectors projects. So those young people there that we can see in the photo, they're from our recent trip to the top end, Darwin in the top end, and we've got people from all students from all sectors and in quite a number of schools there as well. To enter the competition, which is closed at the end of June, I believe it was. Students have to conduct their original research, so we encourage them to choose a service person that hasn't currently got much information on them, so it's a serviceman or servicewoman who served in either World War I or World War II, so that we do meet the Year 9 and 10 curriculum there. The awardees get there's a fairly decent carrot at the end of it. They get a fully funded study tour And the aim of that study tour is for commemoration in historical learning or further learning. So for the last 3 years, we've been to Darwin, post-COVID pretty well. We've stayed a little bit closer to home with lots of learning around the bombings of Darwin in 1942. And we were fortunate to do a lot of cultural learning about our own Australian culture as well, which is quite fitting on to talk about on NAIDOC Week. On these tours, we're accompanied by 2 teachers. So if you're a teacher and you've supported entries of students from your school, you can actually apply to come on the trip as well. So there's an application process, and generally we take 2 teachers from any sector on merit that will accompany us fully funded on those study tours as well. We're also accompanied by a representative from the RSL, so the Return Service League. That is a very, very popular person usually, because they're there to, not as an official supervising adult, but as a person they can speak to about service and what that means and their experience, and sharing their stories as well. So that's a pretty amazing part of the journey. Past destinations, my first one was earlier this year. Is an amazing week or 2 weeks. Past destinations have included France, Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, and Darwin, which I've just returned from as well. So traditionally an overseas trip, and we're hoping for next year, the awardees this year, there will be another overseas trip at the end of it. I'm just waiting confirmation of that. Here's some images on our recent trip to Darwin. The photo on the left is the post office that was destroyed in the bombings, and civilians were unfortunately were killed from those bombings. We got Malcolm McInerney, my predecessor, taking a historical walk down the bottom middle. The middle top is the Aviation Museum in Darwin. We visited Government House and Parliament House in Darwin while we were there. And then the one on the next slide. For those who've been to Darwin, you'd probably recognise the amazing sunsets there. I'd like to think the 3 girls on the edge of the screen were taking photos to share to their family, which I'm pretty confident they were. But yeah, just a wonderful group of students that came along. The top image there, every night we actually came together. The students before the trip researched a person who actually was killed in the bombings of Darwin. Now, that didn't necessarily have to be a service person. Quite a few of them chose civilians who died, such as the post office bombing. And it was just an amazing way each night to share, and us adults did do it too, each night to share and bring to life their stories and their sacrifice they've made. And it was just a wonderful way to end each day. So hopefully the next slide, here we go. So then we moved, after spending a week or so in Darwin, we went bush, and we went to places like Catherine Gorge, which we can see there. We went to Kakadu. We did cultural learning. Bottom right is one of the magnetic termite mounds, which you can see the size of. 10,000 plus year old rock painting, which was amazing. And the bottom left-hand image was some students doing a little activity on mindfulness in looking out across the savannah in Kakadu. So pretty special time. Some touristy things that we did, the jumping crocodile tour. The sign in the middle was, I've just put that there for a little bit of humour. And I just want everybody to be aware that the photo of the students on the right was at a rock pool, which had no jumping crocodiles or no swimming. No crocodiles around, so there's no crocodile danger there. They all came back in one piece, which is fantastic. But we did get to enjoy a lot of swimming under waterfalls and hot springs and everything there as well. And yes, there's one of the huge amount of wildlife there. One of the students, when we were at Catherine Gorge, there was the toilets there, and he goes, Aaron, there's there's something in the toilet. And I said, you haven't been to the toilet, have you? And he said, no. And I said, show me. And there's for those who've lived up north, there's a green tree frog in the dunny. So that was quite a humorous moment on the trip. The the second to last day, we got up quite early. We arranged with the RSL in Darwin to participate in the dawn service, the Anzac Day dawn service. It was an amazing experience, which the students are still talking about. We got seats allocated to us, which were 3 rows back. So you can see we're behind the police service, the US Marines with the white cap on in front of us, the Army, the Navy in the front. So we were right up the front, and the picture on the right with the flowers, we chose 2 students as part of the ceremony to place the wreath as part of that as well. So wonderful time. And with all our programs, we actually look at the impact on the students of a study to experience such as this, and just some interesting findings. Impacted interest and understanding of the Anzac spirit and growth and knowledge of Australian history. It enhanced research skills participating in this award. Boosted their confidence in presenting and communicating their research findings. So, for example, the coming together at the end of the day and talking in front of a group and sharing the stories of their person who sacrificed their life in the Darwin bombings. Confidence in exploring new places and experiencing different cultures. And 100% would recommend the study tour to other students in the future. And also the ability to work together effectively in group situations. The image on the right there is of a man named Peter Cates. Peter was our RSL rep, and he led a beautiful ceremony at Adelaide River War Cemetery, where the students found the grave of the person that, and here's an example, one of our Adelaide Botanic High School students. He has visited R.S. Gardner, who he presented to the rest of the group, and found the grave, and you can see a little poppy. So each of the students placed a poppy next to the grave of the research person they chose. So it was just a beautiful, beautiful ceremony, beautiful time there. Just some student quotes. Once in a lifetime opportunity, I will cherish forever. A new state and made friends for life. So they start as a fairly nervous group that don't know each other, and they come back very, very close. And I know they're still in very, very close contact, whether they're from the Riverlands or the Yorke Peninsula or the southeast or metropolitan Adelaide. Yeah. So the next one's a great quote. It's a lot of work. Yes, if you're going to win an award like this, it's a lot of work to prepare your entry. But even if you don't win, you've just preserved the story of someone who sacrificed so much to save us during the war. And the results are actually posted on the Virtual War Memorial website. Final quote, one of the greatest opportunities, I've learned to take more risk by putting myself out there and not hold back. So just wonderful impact and outcomes for students. So that's the Anzac Awards. I'll just pause for comment if anyone's got any comments, if you'd like to put them in the chat line. Alternatively, we can wait to the end when we all finish.
The chat's been nice and quiet, Aaron. I'll keep an eye on it for you.
All right. Thanks, Natalie, because I can only see the presentation screen, so that'll be lovely. All right, so moving on. We had a whole session on this last week. So this is the Governor's Civics Awards for schools. So Her Excellency in that picture, Frances Adamson, is pictured with some awardees from Cornerstone College, I believe. And she is extremely supportive of these awards. Last week, if you tuned in, Natalie would have sent you the link to a whole professional development online session that we did, where we invited 3 schools who were successful in achieving awardees at their school, whether it was individual, group or school, and they shared their experiences in applying for the awards and shared some tips and tricks in applying for that. So that is online if you haven't had a chance to check that out. That was very useful, and they were so enthusiastic, weren't they, Natalie, and everybody who were there, so enthusiastic and passionate about it, and gave hopefully some ideas on ways you can apply for that as well. So again, it's cross-sector. There's awards for years 5 to 12, and the closing date for entries is 15th of September this year. So we will announce the winners in November this year. And if you're an awardee, whether it's an individual one or a school one or a group one, you'll be presented by medallions and certificates by Her Excellency at either ceremonies under the old gum tree on Proclamation Day at Glenelg on the 20th of December, or at Government House, usually at the end of February at the start of each year. In addition to that, the SACE awardees, this is a photo of our recent one. They get to sit down and have a round table with Her Excellency and the Official Secretary, Hugh, who's in the background. And they also receive a $250 contribution to their studies, to their studies. So fairly good for a SACE student. I'm sure they could put that $250 to good use. And again, an amazing experience on the line there. For the schools categories, we have a primary and a secondary award. We spoke about it last week. It's not a huge process to enter. So if you're doing something excellent already at your school in terms of civics and citizenship, it's certainly worth applying. And there's a $2,000 prize for your school to go towards civics and citizenship as well. So, and teachers that get acknowledged at that ceremony as well. Last year's winners, if you want to scan down there, I'm not sure if we've got any people from these schools attending today, but you can see the categories and how many winners were awarded on each of the categories. So we've got the year 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have the SACE category, we have the group category, and the school category. So again, across different sectors. The judging process is fairly thorough, and we have a really
Aaron, you may have frozen for a moment there.
Experienced judging panel that sits awardees, and Natalie is and website with more details. It's certainly worth tuning in if you haven't already, and it's goes through the award ceremony for 2021 and shows exactly what the awards are all about. An alternative as well, if you've got SACE students, the Order of Australia Association closing date Monday, July 31. They have a 2023 Student Citizenship Awards. If you click on that link, you can find more about that. So we'll make sure that link is attached through our notes that we'll send after the workshop today. This is for year 11 and 12 students who actively engage with and contribute to their school and or local communities rather than for specific academic or sporting achievements. So Noel, who runs that, has asked me to promote that as well, and certainly worthwhile for SACE students to enter too. Okay, so no comments, Nat. I'll move on to the Eden School Prize.
No, I've just been linking to the video that you referred to and where to access the awards. And I'm also dropping the Order of Australia Association information into the chat for you too. But anyone's welcome to leave a comment in there.
Great. No worries. I can see that. Thanks, Natalie, for looking after that. The Eden School Prize, quite interesting to see when we did our survey at the start that no one's heard of that, which is great because you're about to find out about it now. This is for government schools only. It was established in 2008, so it's been going for a little while now, and it's for year 10 government schools only. So perhaps that's why many of us haven't heard of this these awards before, or this prize before. It's actually, I believe, and I've been told, it's the highest cash prize up for grabs for South Australian students. So in the state, basically. And there's a man called John Eden, so JJ Eden, and when he passed away in 1956, part of his bequest was for the Minister of Education to conduct an essay competition for Year 10 students in government schools. And there's always a question on how to make the world a better and happier place. These awards this year finish on, or the awards close on 6th of October. And the top 3 awardees are awarded, so first gets $1,250, second $750, and third $500. So certainly worth towards a new laptop and anything else that's going to support your prize. So has my screen stopped sharing?
Yeah, just reshare your screen.
Sorry, guys. Window. Okay, is that better? Excellent. Okay, so last year's awardees, the question was, how can participation in sport and/or that should be physical activity make the world a better and happier place? So first prize was Jana from Balaclava High School. Second was Hannah from Mount Compass Area School, who actually also went on the Premier's Anzac Spirit School Prize trip or study tour to Darwin this year. We have Amy from Mount Compass Area School that was in third place. This year's question, how can, and this is quite a topical one, how can artificial intelligence make the world a better and happier place? And I've actually done a little trial run, and I've put that question into ChatGPT a number of times, and yeah, it's quite interesting because it does spit out quite a good argument. But we wouldn't like our entrants to use ChatGPT to entirely do this application. So hopefully we'll be on to people who do that. There is a declaration, so it's a 600 or 800 word response, and certainly well worth encouraging students to do. Because it is so limiting being a government school in Year 10, we do get the least amount of entries for all our projects with the Eden School Prize. So if you're in a high school, pass it on to your Year 10 coordinator or leadership, history teacher, whoever, even your English teacher. It can be done in any lesson. It can be done as a out-of-school assignment or essay. It can be done within classroom time before, but I certainly encourage people from government schools to enter their or encourage their Year 10 students to enter. And you may even have some friends who teach Year 10 or teach in high schools that you may like to share this information with, because it is a great project and a project that the minister's really keen to encourage and grow. So that's the Eden School Prize. Previous themes regarding that question. So each year it's that question about how can something make the world a better and happier place. So I've just had a look back in time, and there's been questions regarding arts. How can arts make it a better and happier place? Social media, technology, physical activity and sport, as I mentioned just before. That was last year's question. And understanding and applying mathematics. So really good topics to write on. And perhaps if you've got any suggestions, you're very welcome to, for future questions, pop them in the chat line as well. So the judges, what the judges are looking for, again, there's a judging panel that considers all applications, breadth of thought on the topic, originality of thought, evidence of research, relevance of the response to the question, reference to current issues, and communication skills. All right, so this is all on the website. All the criteria for all these awards are on our websites. Okay, so Muriel Matters Awards. We're getting back to an award that runs across all sectors, so cross-sector, government, Catholic education, and independent schools. This was established not too long ago, in 2021, so post-COVID. And this is run in collaboration. I work really closely with Natalie, who we all know from SA Parliament, who certainly support the project very, very well. And this is for Year 7 to 12 students. And schools actually nominate one student for the award. So they actually nominate an awardee, and there is an online form So entries will be open after July 29, and schools should be sent some promotional materials shortly in the school holidays, hopefully. So July 29, where we can promote it from. And this is a school-based process, so it's up to you as a school. But we'd like the awardee to be someone that you deem to be self-starting, showing initiative, and that's beyond school-arranged activities, is involved in democratic process to promote change and make a difference, has taken action of some kind, and has exhibited in their action a great degree of selflessness and personal challenge. All right, so that's pretty well the criteria which we're looking at, and I'm sure all of you at school knows that type of person. Natalie, would you like to add to that, perhaps a little bit on who Muriel Matters is? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot too much there.
No, that's okay. Muriel Matters was an interesting personality coming out of South Australia as one of our, I guess, South Australian suffragettes in the UK. Muriel Matters was born in Bowden, and if anyone's been through Bowden, there's Muriel Matters Lane, which is now set up in Bowden. And Muriel Matters moved to the UK after South Australia had women get the right to vote in 1894. And they say that the foundation of her campaigning in the UK for women's voting rights was because of her history with South Australia and being raised here and seeing women get the right to vote in SA. So she is technically the first woman who spoke on the floor or spoke in the House of Commons, because she chained herself to the ladies' gallery in the House of Commons and yelled "Votes for women" from the ladies' gallery. She thought that the grille that separated the women from the men in the House of Commons was a symbol of oppression, and she took a number of steps to advocate for women's voting rights. So the Muriel Matters Awards are named after her because she was a self-starter who showed initiative and took bold action to make a change. And so the criteria for the Muriel Matters Awards reflect the values that Muriel Matters used to live her life. We hold a lovely ceremony at Parliament House for the recipients of the awards. It's quite special, and it's not, there's nothing required extra on top of what students might already be doing in their personal lives. So if you've got a student who's doing something incredible already, they don't need to submit an application. You just nominate them and then they can receive the award for your school. So it's quite lovely in that students who are already doing something special and extracurricular don't have to do anything further to be able to receive acknowledgement for their hard work.
Yeah, well put there, Natalie. Thanks for that. And it is an online process. It's quite a simple process to do once it's released on our website. So after July 29, we'll have that on our website. And it's certainly, like I said, and Natalie's just touched on, you all would know students that would fit that criteria. There's a lot of amazing students out there. It's up to a school to nominate that student and then fill out a simple form, and they do get awarded. Sorry, is my screen still sharing? Yep. So awardees will receive a Muriel Matters beautiful medallion and a really nice case, and a copy of Colette Snowden's monograph, Muriel Matters, That Darling Girl. And again, we work closely with Natalie and SA Parliament, and they've generously funded the medallions through the House of Assembly as well. And the books are donated by the Muriel Matters Society. My directorate's recently gone to the Fire and Folk Museum, which is right next to, it's this beautiful old museum at Hindmarsh, right next to the Hindmarsh Stadium where the soccer's played and the Women's World Cup's coming up. On the side of that is a beautiful old museum, and it's got a collection of history from that area, and there's a whole section on Muriel Matters, and as Natalie touched, she was from around that way as well. So the Muriel Matters Society come there and make sure that's set up for everybody. Well worth a look, and it's free as well. All right, so that's what the poster looks like. That will be sent out to all schools. Again, it's for years 7 to 12, and after July 29, you can start nominating students, and again, it's for all sectors too. So hopefully, you all will be able to spread the word to people at your school about these awards, because you've got a guaranteed awardee if you fill out the nomination form as well for a student that you at your school deem worthy. Okay, now Natalie, I'm also going to handball this one to you, which you are prepared for this time. This is something that one of my colleagues, Steve, who looks after the outreach education, including Natalie at SA Parliament, works really closely with Natalie about. I'm going to be involved later this year, but I haven't been involved previously, but Natalie has been extremely heavily involved for a number of years, and it's another great opportunity for our students to become involved and really cover civics and citizenships for our Year 11 students. So over to you, Natalie.
No worries. I've dropped some links in the chat for you with further information about the Constitutional Convention. This is an annual event that's hosted at Parliament House, completely free, and we put on some snazzy food for the students and everything. And Year 11s can be nominated to attend for a full day at Parliament House where they get to talk about a relevant constitutional issue. So previously, we've spoken about whether Australia should become a republic. We've spoken about whether the environment should be a federal responsibility or a state responsibility. And this year we're speaking about whether the Australian Constitution should be easier to change. So Year 11 students, it's not limited to a particular subject area. The only prerequisite is that your student has an interest in the future of the nation. So on the day, we will support students from all different subject areas to make sure that they understand the content and that they can have an engaging conversation with us about the future of Australia. We keep it really interactive, so they do group work and they workshop. They get to do a Q&A panel with a selection of politicians, and they get to do a debate in the real parliamentary chamber about the question of the day. We also model a referendum process for them. So this year it will be highly relevant given the 2023 Voice referendum coming up, and we're hoping that the students will have some really great conversations about changing the Constitution. The other big perk of the South Australian Schools Constitutional Convention is that we use this as the basis to select 12 of those Year 11 students to then get a free trip to Canberra the following year, so when they're in Year 12, to go to the National Schools Constitutional Convention as South Australia's representatives. It's an incredible national event that's held at Federal Parliament and in Old Parliament House, and they get to spend 3 days talking about constitutional issues with students from across the whole country. There are about 120 students across the nation who were at the event in March this year, and similar to what Aaron was saying before, the Year 12s that went this year are very much involved in group chats with each other. I actually had to remove myself from the group chat because I couldn't keep up with them. So they've all become really great friends, and it's been a wonderful opportunity for them to meet peers who are like-minded and interested in similar issues. So registrations or nominations for Year 11 students for our state event are already open. I strongly encourage you to send Year 11s, not just from your legal studies or your politics SACE courses, but from students you might have in research project who are doing really interesting assignments, or other HASS related areas. You could even have an amazing student in science who you think would really enjoy talking about the Constitution. So please send them through to us and give them the chance to go to Canberra next year. Hopefully that's okay, Aaron.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much, Natalie. Any questions of Natalie? No? Okay.
Surely
Beautiful.
after 9 weeks, they're sick of me, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. Sick of the same faces and voices. Just one more. We've got 20 minutes to go. Okay. So this is just a summary sheet where you can find more information. It's got web links to all the projects that we've just spoken about. And it does divide it into year levels that each of the awards and programs cater for, what the program is, when it was established, what is the student activity involved, and it's got deadlines or due dates for 2023, and then what awards are up for grabs as well. My details are down below, my email's down below, and again, there's web links if you want some more information. So we'll share that afterwards in the post-workshop materials that Natalie will send out. And then that's it for me for now. So you're probably sick of my voice. So I will handball onto another much better voice than mine, which is Tara. So Tara, we briefly talked about a little bit earlier. Tara's been in the position for a while now of Curriculum Manager of Years 7 to 10 HASS at the Department for Education in the Curriculum Development Directorate. So I won't steal her thunder, but she's got a wonderful role, as I do, supporting teachers and providing opportunities for to support HASS teaching and learning as well across the state. So over to you, Tara.
Thank you, Aaron. And lovely to meet everyone here, even though it is virtually. Just for a bit of background about myself, so it gives myself a little bit of context for you. I've been a teacher in the department my entire career, so I've only worked in the department. I have worked in regional and metro schools from Category 2 all the way to Category 7. So a little bit of a breadth of experience, which I've really loved. I really like, I guess my passion is working with low socioeconomic spaces, and which kind of, I guess, filters through in the work that I do and the passions that I have for HASS in general. But I'm using Aaron as my little clicker at the moment. So if Aaron just wants to click to the next slide. I guess what I want to just take a moment, like I guess reflecting on the past 9 weeks of your learning, and I would like you just to think about what would a world look like without civics and citizenship? Like if we weren't to teach civics and citizenship at all throughout schooling, like can we guarantee that that is something that is done outside? Can we guarantee that what we would like, I guess the dispositions and the capabilities for our young people to walk in their worlds, in and between their worlds, if they would develop them without civics and citizenship? So I just want you to just quickly have a wonder about that and identify maybe a couple of things about what a world might look like without civics and citizenship. And I just wanted to share in the chat maybe just a couple of words that sum up some of your wonderings. So I'll give you about a minute to do that, and hopefully I can see some words pop up on the chat. I always feel like we should have a little bit of elevator music when this is happening.
I know, I was just thinking, Tara, that I should put something on my phone in the background.
Chaotic, messy, unruly, yes. If anyone's been keeping a look on France, or keeping their eye on France at the moment, that's, if we think about chaotic and unruly and messy, regardless of the reasons behind it, we can see that definitely does happen. I'll keep the chat open and I'll keep referring to it. Please. We've got some more. Fantastic. Lack of community, not working together, individualistic, 100%. Like the lack of community is something that we definitely don't want in our society. We want people, if we want to build a sense of belonging in our students, it's something that's really, really important. And no accountability for our politicians, 100%. And unfair and power held with a small group. Yep, definitely. And I don't think that these things, please keep sending them through and I'll just keep going and keep talking about it. But, I guess our role as civics and citizenship teachers, particularly in HASS, it's something that is critical, that goes across every learning area, not just HASS. So I guess part of the presentation today, so you might be able to hear my dogs barking in the background, apologies for that, trying to think about other areas that we teach in, other spaces that we explore in our lives, and how that teaching of civics and citizenship can come through, and the relevance of that in, I guess, in creating the development of that whole person, which is ideal with our teaching. So yeah, definitely lacking moral compass. Unequally, lack of accountability, unfair, 100%. And I think if we think of young people, they have a very strong sense of unfairness. If you tell someone that they can't do X, Y, and Z, they'll be like, oh, miss, well, so-and-so could do this and so-and-so could do that. So, they have a very strong sense of unfairness from such a young age. It's something that needs to make sure that we foster that, and we acknowledge that unfairness is occurring. Aaron, if you could just swing to the next slide for me. Sorry. Disengaged, disappointed. the powerless, that idea of like lacking agency. So if we can just click through, beautiful. Yep. I think I forgot that these were on, like, if we can just clicking through just to the end of this slide, and then I'll go through the whole lot. Perfect. So I guess, like, with that in mind, and seeing what we don't want in our world, that we don't want our society to look, feel, sound like, for our young people moving forward, as well as ourselves. I think that the why of civics and citizenship is so integral to understand and then be able to communicate to not only our young people in that we're teaching, but also to the leaders that we work with and the other teachers that we work with as colleagues, and making those connections, helping them see those connections in different spaces of their teaching as well. So really about that comprehending, navigating, actively participating, making decisions in our local, national and global world. And it's critical that young people understand their rights and their responsibilities in that space, and really understand that their pathways, they have agency in how they act in their world. It's not, they don't just have to kind of sit and take the things that they don't agree with. They can have agency, they can have voice, and I guess to be a constructive local and global citizen in that space, and to feel like they are part and they do belong to the societies that they walk in and between, and acknowledging for them that what that looks like is different when they do walk in and between those spaces. So when we look at the Australian curriculum, with the V9 particularly, it's probably worth to say as well, for those of you that haven't visited the EDI or the PLINK websites, I'm sure they've been spoken about before here, but knowing that all the 7 to 10 history and geography units of work that are there to support teachers, they're 100% iterative, they're 100% something that can be supportive of teaching. They're not meant to be taught word for word. They are just a support for you in your own context to apply however you feel is necessary, and that is most helpful for you as your teacher, and where you are and where your cohort is. So the 7 to 10 history and geography are written to 8.4. They were previously published a few years ago. The 7 to 8 civics and economics are both published at 8.4 as well. So the previous version of the curriculum, and the year 9 and 10 civics and economics are published to V9. So they are aligned to V9, the Australian curriculum, just at this point in time. And then we will continue to align and refine the rest of those units over to V9 as we move forward. But looking at the AC strands, particularly of civics, of government and democracy, laws and citizenship and diversity, relate to so many areas of learning, as I've said before, and they can be taught as a standalone unit if you would like to do them as a case study. But I would challenge, or not even challenge, I would ask you to think about where some of those, and I'll show you in a minute with the content descriptors, where some of them could be taught in other spaces of your topics or other teachings that you're enacting in your classroom at the moment. So they can be embedded within many subject areas as well, depending on where they sit. They don't have to be taught in that isolation of one case study, which I think gives more authenticity anyway. I think it does that relevance for young people. They see that being we are humans, therefore, and we live in civic life. Therefore, it is relevant to everything that we do. And HASS and civics and citizenship in particular, it's about understanding what it means to be human, an active participant, to have that togetherness, to sense that belonging for themselves and the people that they surround themselves with and the societies that they are connected to, and understanding what it means to be part of our environment, and not looking just from a human environment, but also as an environmental environment. So what is our role and space and responsibility in there too? Understanding ourselves and others, and being informed and active in their engagement in life in pathways that they choose. And I guess that's something I'm very passionate about. It's not about what I want for my students or what their parents want for the students. It's about what that student wants for themselves in their life, and what tools can we give them to actively participate in that in the way that they choose. So yeah, Aaron, if you could just continue, if that would be great. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, as I go forward, I know I been told I talk quite quickly, so if there's anything you'd like me to clarify, please just let me know. I've just got this up here, and you're more than welcome. I'm sure you get a copy of this anyway, but this is just something I kind of think about when I teach civics and citizenship as a lens, I guess, and support me in looking at, I teach HASS obviously, but also English literature up to year 12, or English literary studies. And so I think about how this can be kind of applied continually throughout all spaces that I teach. So these are just some things around seeing the student as, what's my voice in this space? what are other voices in this space, other perspectives, other interpretations? Have I got a broad understanding of all the voices in this space, or am I just listening to one? You know, in a world of fake news and fake media, I think that's really important as well, to seeing that they have a balanced view of everything, and just figuring out then, what do I think about that, and what's my opinion, where do I sit in this space? And then also a collective voice together. So the roles and responsibilities of government for humanity and the environment, what's my role as part of that to the bigger kind of broader R voice in that space? Where can I lend my voice to others and to support them in, you know, in any decisions or impacts that I want to make and we want to make as a collective? So I've just got some little provocations, I guess, some questions and some things that I, you know, like to get students thinking about, that might support their own kind of wonderings. What are the dominant voices? What are the marginalized voices in the spaces that we're exploring? And what do we think about that? What are the responsibilities as a citizen in something that's local, maybe in a local council or in a national level, you know, thinking about the current referendum that's coming up, or thinking about globally, like what do we think about what's going on in France at the moment? Could this happen here? How do we make sure that that doesn't? What do we, you know, what's our, I guess, our role in active agency in that space? Do we have one? Should we have one? How do we make more of one? What is the role of us towards humanity and environment? It's not just you and I, it's us together. How do we view our place and what that looks like for different people? And then how do we come to a kind of agreed I guess, acknowledgement of significance of places, or place depending on where we are. So I've got a little bit, you know, of, I guess, questions in there that just support me in my thinking, and that, you know, that might be useful for you as you move forward through civics and citizenship as well. And if you could just click to the next slide, beautiful. And then just click a few more times and some things might come up down the bottom, beautiful. So I guess I like short, sharp and shiny. So I guess leading on from your learnings over the last 9 weeks, if we look at, so for example, the content descriptors, I know they're very, very little here, but the content descriptors across from 7 to 10 within civics and citizenship in the V9 or the V8.4, depending, it doesn't really matter, I guess. You know, I just want you to think about, we know when we're teaching, you know, potentially you don't teach civics and citizenship at 9 and 10. It's not compulsory within a CARA. Your schools may not do that as separate subjects or give you the space to do that. Similarly with geography at year 10, that is not compulsory under a CARA. But, you know, I'm hoping that most schools do teach that at year 10. It would be very sad to see that that's not happening. But where can we fit where do these aspects of government, democracy, laws and citizenship and diversity, where do they sit within the spaces that you're teaching at the moment? What aspects related to these fit in with your current or your upcoming topic? I know you probably start, for those in high school, started semester 2, and those in primary, obviously ongoing with the work, or maybe finishing it up in terms of the end of the term. So where do these spaces fit, or these contents, or these concepts, I guess, not even content, but where do the concepts kind of fit within the current or upcoming topics? And what questions or activities could you pose to students to implement civics and citizenship learning in this topic? So they don't have to be content. I always think that those provocations are so strong to just get students understanding and thinking about the connections of civics and citizenship in everything that they do and learn. So I'd love you to have a think about that. You can feed it into the chat if you'd like to, but I understand, you know, it's the end of term. I get that you probably, you know, need a little bit more time to think about that over holidays and a nice, you know, cup of tea. But yeah, if there's anything you'd like to, any questions or anything you'd like to ask of me, anything I can support through the department, my emails and contact details, I'm sure Aaron will be able to provide, and Natalie will be able to provide you as well. So reach out anytime. I'm responsible for 7 to 10 HASS, as I've said. So anything that I can support with in any way, please let me know. I'm always, you know, just at the end of an email or on a phone call. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, please ask.
It has been very quiet in the chat, but I don't think that's got anything to do with you and Aaron, Tara. I think it's more to do with the fact that we're in the last week of school and we're all exhausted.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will make sure that in the communications that go out, all of the resources that Tara and Aaron have referred to are collated and then forwarded through to you for consideration later, so you've got access to everything. We do have about maybe 2 or 3 minutes left. So what I might get you all to do is have a think if you've got any final questions and pop them in the chat. And while you're typing them out and just collating any final thoughts that you'd like to contribute. I did want to say a huge thank you to the people who have joined us week after week for our Term 2 series. It's been lovely to have so many regulars. I would like to say that, farewell, but I'm hoping that I will see you all again. So I hope it's not going to be a farewell. It's just a bye for now. Hopefully we'll see you soon. And I will drop in the chat for you a link to some of the professional learning that we've got coming up in Term 3, which is supported by the Department for Education and myself. All of the outreach education destinations, so Art Gallery, Museum, Zoo, Parliament House, Festival Centre, Botanic Gardens, we're all banding together to present a different session for you week after week that's completely free. So there'll be plenty of HASS opportunities for you to unpack through those sessions as well, but it's an opportunity to figure out some creative programming that you could plan for your class using outreach education destinations. Aaron's also dropped a link in the chat to subscribe to an emailing list for awards-based information. So if you want to stay across what's happening for the Governor's Civics Awards for Schools, Eden Prize, Anzac Prize, Muriel Matters, what have I forgotten?
Oh, Anzac, I think you covered it all.
I'm going.
You're doing well at 3 or 4 minutes to 5.
Rote repetition. You can sign up for further information there. I haven't seen any questions come through in the chat, which means I'm going to assume that you're all very satisfied and that you know everything.
Can I just say something too? I'll hand to you in a moment, Tara, but just Natalie's been a superstar in getting this organised as well, and the pre and post preparation and materials and organising the link hookup. So thanks so much, Nat. Especially this is my first series, so you've been wonderful and a big advocate for civics and citizenship for us all. So thanks so much. And the newsletter, the e-news that Natalie referred to, you can subscribe if you'd like. It's not to spam you. It's one per term, and it's really a way of keeping up to date with all these opportunities we've talked about today as well. So yeah, I'll provide my details if anyone wants to get in touch. And as Tara said, she's very happy to field calls or emails as well from everybody here. Sorry, Tara, I think you're going to say something then.
No, that's okay. I just said I'll definitely put my email in the chat, and just if you want to send me an email with any questions or any queries moving forward, even around V9, more than happy to answer any of those questions. And yeah, just want to really thank Natalie and Aaron for putting on this amazing PD and really opening up civics and citizenship for everyone, because it's so important. And sometimes I feel like it kind of gets lost a little bit. So we want to make sure that it's up there and really at the front and center. So
Here. What a year to be a civics and citizenship teacher. There's a lot of content out there for us to use at the moment. So thank you very much, Aaron and Tara, for joining us tonight. Some people have been asking how they can access previous sessions. Please get in touch with me. You should get an email from me tomorrow anyway, but I'll make sure that you have access to all the sessions that you like. And it would be lovely to see you in Term 3. Please do keep in touch with us. And I hope you all have a beautiful time over the school holidays and that you don't do too much marking and work. We all know what it's like. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll hopefully see you soon.